Today we're joined by Joe and Esse. Thank you so much for joining us. It would be great to, if we can just start with kind of your genesis story in soccer and how you fell into refereeing. So Esse, do you want to start first?
Yes, good morning. My name is Esse Baharmast. I came to US from Iran when I was 18 to go to university. I played for the University of Missouri, and in one of the games I broke my tibia and fibia, and my professor at the university he said, you know the game, you've played it, you've coached it, why don't you become a referee? So I started refereeing because of the injury. And immediately, quickly, because I knew the game, I went through the ladders very, very quickly. And before I knew it, I was doing high school games, college games, then professional, indoor, outdoor, all of the above. In 1993, I became a FIFA referee. In 96, I went to the Olympics in Atlanta. I did the semi-final between Portugal and Argentina. In 98 World Cup, I went to France. I did 2 matches there. First game, Spain-Nigeria. Second game is the big game with Brazil-Norway, with the controversial penalty in the 89th minute.
Which we'll definitely get into that in more detail for sure.
So, and after that I retired. I became director of referees for US Soccer, and then in 2003 I became a FIFA instructor, and I've been in every FIFA tournament, men, women, World Cup, Club World Cup, and things of that nature, until 2019 in France, where I told FIFA I will not want to do much more tournaments, but I will continue to instruct. So I'm still a FIFA instructor and director of referees at Colorado Soccer.
Awesome. So helping produce the next generation of referees now in Colorado.
Absolutely, that's
Excellent.
the goal. Yes.
Brilliant. And Joe?
Well, my story is nothing like Esse's, to be sure. I'm a third-generation American. Grew up in New York City, where there was a lot of ethnic soccer. Played by teams like the New York Ukrainians, the Hungarians, the Greek Americans. And I used to go to those games, and I also was a big hockey fan. At a time when you can go to an NHL game for 40 cents and a high school ID card.
Wow.
And so I was in a class in high school. I sat next to a kid. We started talking about hockey, and he was Ukrainian. And at that time, the Boston team had a Ukrainian line, Busek, Stasiuk, and Horvat. He said, do you know anything about soccer? I said, no. He said, good, you come up to the gym, we'll give you a tryout, you could be the goalkeeper. And, it was the same way I became a referee. So, and then, because I knew hockey, I could do angle play, I had a lot of courage. And so I became pretty good.
Awesome.
Got a scholarship to university. Made All-American at LIU, coached there, had some success coaching. So I have a background of playing, coaching, and then because I was a physical education major, I learned to referee everything. Basketball, volleyball, flag football, and I used to watch the referees. But my big break came, I did a lot of good college games. I did the 88 championship game, the final here in America. But my big break came when indoor started in America, but not futsal, indoor with boards.
I think we're going to try and go to a game while we're here on
Saturday night. Right, exactly. So, and because I knew hockey, and this indoor game needed to have time penalties and all kinds of different stuff, the management of that league, my good friend Walter Chisowitz, recommended me to be the referee-in-chief. So I did the first game, the first All-Star game. I was also the assigner. I gave myself all the best. And then Esse was coming along as a young referee, so we hired Esse, and he had some big success. Esse and I go back a long time, and even to the point where we made a full-time referee program for that indoor league where there was a salary. You weren't getting paid. You got a salary.
So was that the first professional
in the world? I think first
wow.
full-time referee program in the world, I think. And so what happened after that? So when Major League Soccer started here in America, they needed help with the referee program. My interview was at a game Esse was doing, and he came out of the locker room after the game. He said, "Please help us." So I got that job, and for 15 years was coordinated the referee program with U.S. Soccer, the federation, and the Canadian Soccer Federation, and then that's how I got to be. When I retired, they asked me to do TV because Esse and I used to go to what they call the broadcast meetings at the beginning of the season. They would bring in all the broadcasters, and we do like 2 hours on the laws of the game and the disciplinary, and we entertained them. We had fun, you know. I mean, they weren't there to learn refereeing; they were there, you know.
Yeah.
So and then when Fox got into soccer with their new channel FS1 and FS2, they interviewed a bunch of people, and they had a screen test, and they selected me for whatever reason. So mostly because I was a teacher, and that's what I was told. You're a teacher, and you explain it like a teacher. This is what we want. We don't want a referee pundit who's criticizing the referee all the time. We want somebody to explain what was in the referee's head, why he or she made that decision.
And so this is a new kind of thing that's happening in England right now. There's Howard actually has been on BT, and Peter Wharton actually, who you would have obviously known.
We know them both.
Yeah, they've been involved in refereeing.
Sorry about that.
No problem. How do referees dread other referees being on the TV, or and do you have is it hard to give negative feedback on referees that or is it difficult?
Well, it all depends on the person, I guess.
Sure.
The fact that, like, before the Gold Cup, we have Gold Cup here, so I go to the referee meetings and sit with them to learn, what they're being taught, so I have a little bit of insight of why they're. So because I do that, they partner with me a little bit, right? And will tell me things that maybe they wouldn't tell somebody who's going to be criticizing them at every moment.
Yeah.
So it's never like, hey, I would have made it this call. Well,
but it's educating why that call was made in the first place, what you've been able to see. Interesting.
So even Esse is still talking to me, even though
and I can add to that, when I look at that pundit on TV like an assessor. If an assessor is only a fault finder, always looking to find faults and nothing else, there's nothing good about your performance, after a while you're going to shut down that assessor. This person is not in it for the right reasons. But if it's an assessor that tells the good things as well as the bad things that that you could improve, then you have respect for that assessor. And for me, it's the exact same type of pundit on TV. You can tell when they're just there to smash and nothing else, as when they're trying to educate and teach.
Brilliant.
So in your opinion, obviously you see loads of different referees all around the world. Like, what is your difference between a good referee and a great referee? Like, is there a character difference? Is it, they get, someone was saying the grade decision's right, or what makes it?
Well, I wish I had my notes with me, because I have a rehearsed textbook answer to that question. There's a thing we call the it factor.
Yeah.
Okay. The referee has it. Okay. And so what is it? All right. And it's a combination of things. It's like there's 5 things. Seeing every play as clear as possible, with clarity. Because you're so sharp. Having a feel for the game, an understanding of what's going on the field, reading the game is another one. Having other experience than refereeing, also playing experience and coaching experience, so you're refereeing the big picture. Doing your homework, all right? So preparing, like scouting the teams, knowing who's going to get the ball here, who's going to build, how they're building their attack. Well, who are the players carrying a yellow card from, these kinds of things. And last but not least, and this is the best part, intelligent guesswork. All right. So when you don't, you're not sure, you got to guess. Okay. And there's some guessing. And so Esse was making a lot of good guesses. so that's what makes a good referee.
Awesome. Have you got any other points on there? Or?
Yeah, and for me, absolutely, it starts from the person. Okay, so for me, their integrity is number one. You could have the best referee in the world, okay, and they're going to end up match fixing. Okay, that referee is gone. Not only that referee has damaged the entire reputation of the referee family, because if there's one bad apple, everybody thinks, oh, okay, all of you guys are the same. So for me, it starts from the person. You give me a good person. You give me a person that has good morals and the right values, then I will give you a great referee, because we can teach a referee all the basics. We can teach them everything that needs to be done. But I need to have the raw material, and the raw material is you have to have a good person.
So on a follow-up to that is, do you think that the best referees are the ones that go completely unnoticed in the game? Is that a fair thing, or? I'm glad you're nodding, because that is exactly the answer I was hoping for.
That's a thing that a myth.
Yep.
Okay, that has been perpetuated like from way back, 50 years already. The best referee, if you see the game, you don't know who the referee is, he's done a good job. It's impossible. The game is decided by one goal, right? And there's penalty kick, no penalty kick. Yellow card or red card. Offside or not offside. Goal line decisions. So those 4 decisions are the keys for the game, and they have to. Those decisions are made in every game, and the referee in making one has to pick one side or the other. And so, how is he going to be unnoticed?
And my answer is to those people. Don't you know Pierluigi Collina? Don't you know Junaid Shakir?
Yeah.
Don't you know Bjorn Kuipers? Because then you would have never noticed these people, right? And they're some of the greatest referees.
Yeah.
And it is because when the time dictates for them to come out and be noticed, they are there. But they know that the game is not about them; it's not their show. So when it's time to get things done and then move to the background, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So sometimes you are the star because everything is all cameras are on you, and for the rest of the time, for the next 89th minute, you may not be even in the background.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
So obviously, there'll be a lot of young referees here potentially. Like, what would your advice be for like new up and coming inspiring referees who are interested in picking it up?
You have to watch as much soccer as you possibly can, because even though there are so many games now to referee in America and you get opportunities to referee, you have to learn by watching the game, and if the referee makes a good call, put that in your repertoire of memory. The bad call, never make that same mistake. You never repeat a mistake, but let someone else make a mistake, don't repeat his or her mistake. So that is for young referees, is really, experience. Then we want them to continue playing as much as they can. If they go for a coaching license, even a C license or B, doesn't have to be the best, to really understand the game. Then when they walk on the field, they have the confidence of, hey, I'm comfortable here. You could just tell, hey, walk on the field, I'm comfortable, as opposed to, oh shit, I'm a little bit nervous, because I don't have the wherewithal to do what it takes.
And for me, love the game, not refereeing. Don't love refereeing, don't love the game itself. So you're constantly learning. You're watching players, you're watching teams, you're scouting, you're learning. Every time you talk to a coach, to a player, you're learning something from them. But you're talking to other referees, you're learning something from them. And it becomes a passion. It's really funny, because where we are in Kansas City, I said I went to University of Missouri, which is 125 miles away right here. And it's a 2-hour drive. So every weekend I made this 2-hour drive, either to Kansas City and back, or to St. Louis, which is a 2-hour drive. So on every weekend I would put in 4 hours of the driving to come out, because there were good games here and there were good games there. And at the end of the day, I came out short, because the games did not pay much. Okay, so I didn't even pay for the gas money. But today you asked me to do it all over again, I would not change a thing. I would do it all over again, because I loved every moment.
I want to ask a really tough question.
Okay.
So referee numbers are down in pretty much everywhere in the world, right? Not just in soccer, there's other sports, but how can we solve this? Is this a refereeing specific problem, or is this a soccer community sport problem? What are your thoughts? Is there any way we can solve this challenge?
Well, you mentioned that the problem is not only in soccer. So it's not a soccer problem, it's a culture problem. Okay. Right now, people are angry. They seem to want to express their anger whenever, even on road rage. Right? So.
And the flights.
Flight
attendants.
Are getting. So it has to be from grassroots up, I'm very good friends with a guy that manages a club in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they control the fans. The parent youth games I'm talking about. Gets out of hand, the parent is dismissed. Referees have to take a harder stand on that too. And when coaches or players abuse them, and they do in every level of the game, because they see it in the pros, so even the kids are doing it, then the referee has to take definitive action. The problem with soccer is that a sent-off player is not replaced. All right, so in every other sport, a dismissed player, you're still in football, American football, you're going to play with 11. They throw the guy out, you're still playing basketball, 5. The guys, but when you throw a soccer player out, you ruin the game in part. The game changes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes the team with 10 actually plays better, but you never know what the outcome is. And if you throw 2 people out, it changes even more, especially if they're from the same team.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, this is the first year. This organization is 80 years old. This is the first year referees have been brought into the curriculum. Esse and I were asked to do this program. And we have 177 registered referees, which we're thrilled. From all over the country have come. Howard is speaking, Esse is speaking, Brian Hall's the head of CONCACAF, he's speaking. We have some women referees speaking. So we're hoping that we can begin to bridge the gap between the disconnect between coaches and referees and players and referees, and play a little bit of a small part. If they understand each other better, if they understand what role they're playing and can work together and not looked at, okay, here's the enemy, then maybe we can make a small dent in the problem.
And for me, the administration, the coaching, they have to realize that referees are part and parcel of the game. Okay, and without them, it's a scrimmage. It's not a game anymore. So they need to have all the support. Hassan, if you go to your work and you're getting a lot of money at work, but constantly you're being berated. People are coming and say you're horrible, you're terrible, you're this and you're that. After a while, the money's not going to do it. You're going to say, you know what, I don't need this. I'm going to walk away from this. And that's one of the things that's happening. Now you see a lot of people, what happened with the pandemic, quitting work because they are saying, you know what, life is not worth it. I'd rather just be with my family. And the same type of thing is happening with the referees. They're looking and say, why am I doing this? Because constantly you're being berated. So we got to make sure that the sidelines are taken care of. Coaches are the first ones who are going to tell the parents, hey, knock it off. And they're not the ones who are going to lead the pack in protesting and dissenting to the referee. So we need that better environment.
Yeah, and everybody needs to know the rules too. That would really help. Like what happened in football, American football just Sunday, Dallas game. So before every play, the referee must touch the ball. Okay, so they were running out of time, Dallas, and they tried to put the ball in play without the referee having touched. The clock was running down. They were behind by 1 score, right? And they never got the play off. And as the referees were leaving the field, they got bombarded with all kinds of stuff, as you see in soccer, right? All kinds. And then and one of the key players was asked, "What did you think about the fans throwing stuff at the referee?" He said, "Good for them."
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw, and he did a apology. Yes,
Apology.
After the damage is done.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
Last thing you mentioned NFL. Obviously, the MLS was one of the first leagues in the world we're going from grassroots all the way to the top now. They introduced VAR, right? One of the kind of there's always going to be teething problems when you include or change anything, right? But one of the things is the in-stadium experience about the communication between what's happening to the fans that are there, right? It's a better experience at home because you get the broadcasters, but the fans. So do you think there will ever be experiments or anything around the referees actually talking through the decision like they do in the NFL, where they share it with the crowd? Do you think that would be a good, positive move or not, or do you see that being a risky thing?
Are you asking me?
You both of you, yeah.
Okay. I like the idea.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so because I'm always for trying to make things work, right? So I've been to games where you you don't know what the referee's decision is, and then you don't know what the VAR is looking at, and da-da-da. I was at a game in Dallas with the Hall of Fame, last Hall of Fame thing, and there was a foul the referee missed that wound up being a send-off on the field, but then 2 days later when they reviewed it, they criticized the referee and the VAR for for intervening in a play that shouldn't have been intervened in. So that kind of confusion existed at that game, and nobody in the stands knew what was going on. All right? I had no idea what was going on. But if you're watching on TV, we could have probably figured it out, because we would have seen the replays and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, Esse is a very conservative guy. Esse's not going to speak, he was in charge of referees at U.S. Soccer, and I was his customer with MLS when I worked for MLS. So I saw referees in Italy wearing yellow socks with a yellow shirt.
Yep.
Right? Okay, I said, Esse, we got so many teams with black socks, or dark blue, navy blue. We let the referees wear yellow. He said, no way. Right? You remember?
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a traditionalist.
Yeah,
for me.
Yeah. So I don't want to say you're a conservative.
No.
but I don't. If the referee goes to the screen,
Yeah. That conversation could be.
that conversation could be had. We could look at the video that is being shared, and he could explain, instead of going like this, penalty or no penalty.
Yeah.
That why the decision is made could be explained before the game restarts. It would take no more time, right?
Yeah.
So
In
why not?
Esse, I'm going to come to you and ask you in a second, but in rugby in England, the fans in the stadium can actually listen the whole game to the referee's communications through a headset, which is really interesting. Rugby is a very different cultural sport. There's a lot less swearing. There's a lot more respect to the referee. It's getting a little bit worse, but it would be a really interesting thing, at least for us as referees.
Yeah.
It would be really cool. But Esse, what about your thoughts on, as the more traditionalist, I guess?
Yeah, and you said rugby. I think they say it's the game of ruffians played by gentlemen,
Exactly,
and soccer is the game of the gentlemen played by the ruffians.
Exactly.
So I think that that explains it, no?
Yeah.
For me, transparency is always good. We need to be transparent, because whatever we seeing the next 30 seconds is going to be shown on television all over the world. So, and we're human. Even with VAR, we're going to make mistake. Okay, VAR is not 100% proof. What VAR is going to do is eliminate scandals. It should eliminate scandals. It should eliminate the hand of God Maradona. It should eliminate the Thierry Henry handball that eliminates Ireland from going to the World Cup. It should eliminate those scandals. However, it should not be such that if you cannot see it in real life, okay, that it's going to change the decision. So when we're looking at these lines being drawn, whether a fingernail is over the line, or a nose is, or the knee is, then it cuts. That's where I'm traditionalist. That's where it cuts into the game that I love and I grew up with. Okay, part of that mystery of the game is not a bad thing. That's got to be there.
Interesting.
And if you cannot see it with your naked eye, and you cannot see it in the replay, and now you got to bring in all these different lines to put it in, maybe we're going a little too far.
Thank you both so much for your time.
You're most welcome. It was actually, I think, fun for both of us.
Brilliant.
Your questions were good and
Awesome.
and good.
We've got a load of referees who listen. Is there any one last thing that you want to share with them in terms of advice, inspiration, or anything? Any one thing, if you could speak to a room full of young referees, what's the one thing that you would say?
Well, it's a terrific feeling at the end of the game, if players from both teams come over and say, "Good job, ref." Even the losing team knows they got a fair shake. That's one of my things, a fair shake. You as the referee walk off the field really like you made a contribution, to the overall good game, and that's why we do it. That's the reason that we do it. I mean, it helps. Well, that's it. That's my answer.
For me, to enjoy the game, you are an integral part of this game. You're not just an accessory for this. You are an integral part of this game. You make a good game become a great game, okay, by giving the right flow to the match, by the right protection of the players. So you are a little bit like the conductor of an orchestra that conducts this beautiful music. You're not the orchestra. People don't come out to watch the conductor.
Yeah.
They come out to enjoy the music. So you just make that happen. Make sure that it plays the way it's supposed to play, and along the way you're gonna meet friends from all over the world. What this game has given me in the memories, and it's beyond imagination. You travel the world, you say you have friends in places you didn't even know. I would have never ever known that I'm going to go to Papua New Guinea. Okay, it was never big on the list of touristic spots. And I enjoyed being there for a month with the Women's World Cup and making so many friends out there that otherwise without soccer would not have been possible.
Gents, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the weekend here.
Great.
Thank you.